Hello, and welcome to a wider episode of Justin's Leap to the Past. Thanks for joining me. Today, I wanted to talk about something that hopefully a lot of you want to hear about, and that is in ring stories from my independent professional wrestling career. So, I wanted to just throw a couple at you, and if you like it, let me know, and I will probably dig up a couple more and, hit you with those. But right now, let's leap back to now I'm recording this on my laptop, so I can actually use my phone to do some notes. I don't have much notes, but all right, let's see what we can do. We got 10 minutes here. Do I see how much time I have? Yeah. All right. Cool. Story number one: Ken Anderson, Mr. Anderson, Mr. Kennedy. Kennedy. Wrestling fans know him. Before that, he was Kamikaze Ken Anderson in the Wisconsin, Minnesota area. He had a good thing going there in Green Bay, Wisconsin, with ACW was the name of the promotion. They had a lot of good guys. They were drawn really well. Our guys from Minnesota came down as kind of a invader sort of angle. We were sort of a faction, and MPW guys, Midwest Pro Wrestling guys, and was it ACW? Yeah, ACW was their All Star Championship Wrestling. Anyway, we went down there, worked a hot show. Luckily, I was picked to work with Ken. They really were nice to us, even though some of us were pretty green and some of us were pretty small, and I was both green and small. But Ken was about as experienced as I was at the time. But man, he had great charisma, great fire, maybe a little too much fire, but it served him well. I remember we were rehearsing, we were going over what we are going to do in the ring. This was our first time being face to face like this, and he's just, now we're gonna punch you, and he cups me right in the ear, and that's the first time that's ever happened to me, and it really doesn't feel good. And I'm somebody who, my hearing is like my strongest sense. So nothing bad happened, but I was like, oh man, all right, let's chill out a little bit. But so we're waiting to go on. It's winter because it's Green Bay. It's almost always winter. And I remember there was at least 20 people in our locker room for the talent for the show, and I really had to pee, and I didn't know where a bathroom was. So I was like, how much time do I have? Okay, go outside, write my name in the snow, as you do, and came back and had my match with Ken. And his finisher at the time was called the Kenton Bomb. Sounds like the Swanton Bomb of Jeff Hardy, because that's what it was. He would, the opponent would be down, down here. Ken would go to the top rope here. He would jump off, dive on him, and boom, kind of land on him like that. Cover him 1, 2, 3. So he does that to me at the end of our match and lands right on my bladder. So it wasn't a problem. I mean, it took me out 1, 2, 3. Then no problem if it hurts a little bit. But if I hadn't gone pee beforehand, I would have probably gone pee in the ring. But I didn't, thankfully. Another memorable thing about that show was that after the show, they were cutting promos. Ken cut this really funny promo on me. I will link to that match down there. It might be the whole show, so you may have to skip around for it, but I'll link to that. And they asked me, like, hey, Helmut, do you want to cut? Helmut von Strauss was my gimmick back then. They're like, Helmut, do you want to cut a promo? And I said, no, I'm okay. Which is stupid. If there's a chance for me to be in front of camera, if there's a chance for me to get more camera time, I should have taken it, but I was not as smart as I am now, which is really not saying much. But so there's that one. Okay. There's a promotion that started up in Minnesota called Neo Pro Wrestling, and they had a good group. They had a good crew. Eli was the promoter, and Tim Larson, the fixture in the Minnesota wrestling scene, was the promoter, the booker. And I wrestled this guy, Jason Bane. Now, I didn't know him too much. He was a stockier dude, kind of from maybe north of Minnesota. Not sure who trained him, but okay, he and I are going to have a match. We're talking about stuff. And he's sitting there, and I don't know if you can see that, but he's wiggling his pecs at me, which I don't know if that's just a nervous thing he does, or just something he does, or if he's trying to intimidate me, because I had a reputation as being a little bit stiff in the wrestling scene. Stiff meaning, you can hit a guy and not hurt him too much, or you can hit a guy and hurt him. And I was in the latter category. I really hit guys pretty hard. But Jason and I went over our match, talked about some things we're going to do. We get in there, and we're kind of brawling, and he throws me to the outside. Okay. he picks me up around the waist, and so I'm facing up, and he slams me through a metal folding chair, which the chair is like this, and it collapses on the weight of my body, breaks that chair with my back, basically. I'm not too happy because he didn't tell me about that. We didn't discuss that at all. So I'm not very happy. So I think now my sequence of events may not be 100% accurate, but I think he goes in the ring, breaks the ref's 10 count, goes up to the top rope. He's going to go hit me with like a double axe handle thing. Um, I don't know if he expects to hit me or not, but I kind of get up and I roundhouse kick him right in the face. So I get him right in the face. He starts gushing blood because I kicked him right in the damn nose. Because it's called a receipt. Somebody hits you, you hit them. It's a receipt. You're even. But he's on the ground bleeding now, and I'm kind of amped up. So I reach down and take some of the blood from his nose, and I paint my initials JL on my chest, and I go, Justin fucking Lee, which I don't know why I painted my initials on my chest in his blood, but that just seemed like the thing to do at the time. Um, I wasn't upset with him after that. I think the match went okay. I don't think I've ever seen it afterwards, but yeah, that was I kind of went nuts that time. Okay, not much time for one. So let's talk about Canada. Our whole group went up to Canada once to wrestle in Winnipeg for a show. I think we mostly got there because we had some Native Americans, and it was a Native American they're not Canadians aren't Native American, but those guys put on a show, and we had a couple natives to use, and they brought up the rest of us. We were kind of job guys, just losing to guys. And me and my buddy Playboy Pete Huge, we were wrestling a guy named Cyborg, and he was a legit 7 foot tall Canadian guy, just absolutely jacked, kind of young, good looking dude, but very Canadian. But so we're in a handicap match against him, 2-on-1, and I remember in that match I got him with a super kick. I got a 7 foot guy right in the head with a super kick, which was a feat to do. I don't know if I could do that today. But then that didn't really do much to him because I think he just clotheslined the hell out of me, and I went ass over tea kettle. And then he picked me up in a gorilla press slam and chucked me. And man, when you're a 7 foot guy picks you up fully outstretched, you're very high in the air. I know I talked about in that the stunt gig one about my buddy Earl picking me up. Now Earl's maybe 6 foot, so this is another 1.5 foot if you figure the guy's a foot taller, and then his arms are extra long comparatively, and then he dropped me. And that match, before the match, we're kind of doing our posturing to the camera, and this is a big show. There's like I think there's 6,000 people there, was my guess. But I had some gum in my mouth, and Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, used to do this thing where he would spit his gum out, smack it without looking. So I'd been working on that anytime I had a piece of gum. It was just kind of hobby for me. So me and Pete are in the ring. I look at the hard cam. I spit the gum out. Just whiff it. Just completely whiff it. But I, play it off. I no sell it, as they say. Just acted like nothing out of the ordinary happened. And I got my ass kicked later anyway. But yeah, okay. So that's about 9 minutes of stories. I got a lot more. That went really fast. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please tell me if you want to hear more in-ring tales from me. I'm not anything important. I never did anything big in the wrestling business, but I'm here to tell stories if you want to hear those stories. Also, let me know, do you like this, is this landscape view? Do you like this, me recording on my laptop? Do you prefer portrait, which is the taller, skinnier way, where you look at it on your phone like that? Let me know if you care. And throw me a thumbs up if you like stories of wrestling guys from when they were wrestling. And I will likely do another one of these sometime soon, and maybe I'll record it right after this and stagger it later. But thanks for leaping back to the past with me. I'm Justin Leeper. You are my friend, in a sense.